Hey everyone, so today I'd like to talk about AI and AI's use specifically in music, and this is from the lens of a very small artist, like very small. So I want to say clearly that I'm not against AI. I think it has real potential to benefit artists. I see it as another tool in the toolbox, can be. It's also not without its serious flaws. So right now, AI in art, it feels like a lot of the early days of the internet, right? It's powerful, exciting, but it's also very largely unregulated. It's basically like the Wild West. AI music also seems to be everywhere at the moment. A lot of the conversations around AI and music and art, I think, are missing the point. Not anti-AI. I'm not pro AI at the moment, but I'm not anti AI. I see its potential. I'm pro honesty. So one thing I feel strongly right now is consent. So AI is currently being trained on artists who haven't agreed to have their music as part of the training. So I think if an artist didn't opt in to have their work used as AI training, it shouldn't be used. AI isn't learning like a human, right? Like scale and replication matter. It's not influence. This is straight up copying, and it's copying on a massive scale. So in its current state, yes, a lot of AI is being trained on artists without consent, and that's not right. So I want to make that clear. So also, with that being said, imagine a different scenario. So this is where I think things should be headed, or even kind of are headed in the direction. I know that there's labels right now that are, I think you can have, there's going to be something where if artists want, they can opt to have their music in AI. That's fine. So imagine a different scenario now, where a standardized AI platform, so where artists do allow their music to be trained on models with their consent, with transparency and control. So at that point, we can start having a more ethical conversation about how AI fits into music creation. So how would it be used creatively? So even in that ideal scenario, it should be treated as an inspiration source. The same way your favorite song, a chord progression, a texture, a certain vibe inspires you to write something new. That's how we should view this new AI tool. So the human still has to interpret and reshape and build on it. It's like bouncing an idea off a friend, right? Like if you're sitting together in a session and your friend writes a melody or a riff or lyrics or something, and you're writing it together, but they come up with that part, you wouldn't take that part and say, I wrote that part, right? So it's the same thing as that. You would need to treat AI as the same way. Whatever you generate prompt-wise, it should be treated that way. It can be useful as well for putting a sound to a mood or a concept that you're chasing. So in that sense, it can be creatively freeing. But like I said, it needs to stay at a starting point. It's not the finished product. So you can take that as your inspiration and go from there. Where things have really been crossing the line is the public versus personal use. So I've been seeing this online where people post something saying, hey, listen to this new song I wrote, and it was just a generated AI prompt song from Suno or something. That's not your song. You didn't write it. It's a prompt that you put in. Yes, that song wouldn't have been made without you, but it wasn't something that you created. You prompted it. There's a line that's crossed. If it's for personal use, go ahead. You can share it. Maybe with your friends, you're having fun. Keep it as your own, but it should never be passed as something that you made. If you want to make something and maybe put it out as AI, I think it needs to be very clearly labeled as AI. That way it protects both the listeners and the artists. So that's how I see AI being used as a tool. Now that it's out there and we are seeing artists or people putting AI music out there as their own, or very minimal work, putting out a song and it becomes a smash hit, as it's happened on Spotify before, are we in trouble as humans? So I definitely think that it'll dilute things to a bit. But I think a lot of the times with music, especially people that are very passionate about music, they care about the person behind the music, the face, the personality, the story. They want to hear somebody's story or life or whatever their music is about told by them. They don't want to have just a prompt or something that was generated. They like having a human behind the work, and I think that's where it's going to separate true artists from these AI artists. So AI can coexist with human musicians, but I think only if we're honest about what it is, how it's used, and who actually made the work.